Welcome to From Manuscript to Ministry, created and produced by Elder William Moore, the podcast where faith meets the written word. Each week, your hosts David and Martha dive into powerful, self-published books by Christian authors who are boldly using their God-given voices to impact the kingdom. Whether you're an aspiring writer, a reader seeking spiritual growth, or a ministry leader in search of authentic resources, this is your space to be inspired, encouraged, and equipped. Let's explore today's featured book and uncover the life-changing message behind the manuscript.
Have you ever really stopped to think about how those first moments when you wake up, before the chaos hits, or even just the words you pick during the day, how they can actually set the entire vibe for your life? It almost sounds too simple, right? But that's exactly what we're going to explore today in our deep dive. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we give you that shortcut to being genuinely clued in, mixing key facts with hopefully a bit of engagement to keep you listening. We take some fantastic sources, articles, research, insights shared by listeners like you, and pull out the really crucial stuff. So today's journey takes us into some really profound insights, actually from material one of our listeners sent over. It's designed to empower, maybe awaken some purpose. We're focusing on Proverbs 31, Empowering Quotes for Everyday Motivation by William Moore. Specifically chapters 3 and 4. Our listener pointed to this as a really powerful guide for strengthening the spirit, finding that inner drive. And our mission for you is to really unpack two big ideas from Moore's guide. First, the huge importance of getting up early, and second, the spiritual weight our words carry. Often underestimated, I think. We want to see how these two things, when you put them together, can unlock potential and help build a kind of legacy. We're hunting for those aha moments, the ones that make these maybe abstract ideas feel really solid and usable in your life, cutting through all the noise to give you some clarity.
Exactly. And, this isn't just about digging up old sayings or adding more productivity hacks to your list. What's really interesting here is we're looking at these timeless ways to live intentionally, to connect meaningfully. These are principles that they've worked for generations. In today's world, with so much information flying at us, it's easy to feel swamped, right? Pulled in a million directions. These ideas offer a framework, a way for you to get knowledge quickly, sure, but also deeply, properly. It's about giving you a solid structure to make sense of your day, your interactions, really a whole direction, building a foundation for a life that feels genuinely purposeful, not just busy. And it starts right from those first moments you grab in the morning. It's less about time management, more about managing your mindset and your actual impact.
Okay, let's dig into this then. Our first stop in Moore's guide is chapter 3, and it paints this really strong picture. She rises before dawn.
Mm-hmm.
That's a simple phrase, isn't it? But it immediately makes you think of determination, purpose.
Yeah.
Actively grabbing the day, not just letting it wash over you.
Mm-hmm. It's an active stance.
Yeah, exactly. A deliberate choice. The core message here, the source really emphasizes this, is the deep significance of rising early. And it's crucial, like you said, not to see it as just some awful chore or, who can set the earliest alarm. It's presented as this fundamentally proactive approach to life. The full line is, she rises before dawn, ready to seize the day and make it her own. That really captures it, doesn't it? You can almost feel that energy, that readiness, that sense of owning the hours ahead. It's not just waking up, it's waking up on purpose.
Absolutely. And when we say proactive approach, it goes way beyond just being awake earlier than others. It's really about fostering a specific mindset. The person described here isn't just up. She's actively, eagerly preparing to grab opportunities. She's not waiting for the day to tell her what to do, for the emails to pile up or for other people's demands to start rolling in. Instead, she's consciously taking charge. And this isn't necessarily about being a natural morning person. I know plenty of people aren't.
Right. I'm definitely not sometimes.
Exactly. It's about building a discipline, a habit that lets you consciously engage with your day right from the start. It's about setting the stage for what you want to get done, personally, practically, before the world gets too loud and distracting. That readiness, that's what turns early rising from just a habit into something really powerful, almost strategic. Yeah. It's about getting out ahead of your day instead of always feeling like you're chasing it.
I get that. It's less about the clock on the wall and more about the attitude you bring to that first hour.
Mm-hmm.
And the source mentioned something interesting about what makes this practice really stick, what makes it different. It says it's not just getting a head start on emails. It says doing it with intentionality, faith, and self-discipline really prepares someone to, and I quote, conquer her day, both spiritually and practically. Okay, so for someone maybe struggling with this, how do you make it more than just forcing your eyes open? How do things like intentionality and faith fit in without feeling, forced or too abstract that early?
That's a really important question. Because without those elements, yeah, getting up early can just feel like a grind that leaves you tired, maybe even a bit resentful instead of empowered. Let's break them down. First up, intentionality. This is about starting the day with a clear purpose, a plan, not just reacting to whatever pops up first. It's about having a vision for the hours ahead, even just the next few. Think about it. Instead of grabbing your phone first thing.
Yeah.
Huh. We all are sometimes. But instead of letting other people's agendas pull you in right away, an intentional person might use those first quiet moments to decide, okay, what's the one critical thing today? Or what conversation needs careful thought? What personal growth thing do I want to focus on? It could be as simple as identifying, say, one mental hurdle for the day, or maybe mentally walking through a tricky presentation you have later. Imagine using that quiet time to clear out not just your email inbox, but your mental inbox, so you can walk into that difficult meeting later feeling calm, focused, because you've already thought it through. This deliberate shaping helps you conquer her day, because you're not just reacting, you're actively directing it. That gives you a sense of control that can be, well, incredibly powerful for you, the listener.
Okay, that makes sense. Being proactive with your thoughts, not just your actions. What about faith? That one can feel a bit trickier for some.
Right. And faith here doesn't necessarily have to mean organized religion, though it certainly can. It brings in the spiritual side by suggesting these quiet early hours are perfect for grounding yourself, for reflection, connecting with a higher purpose, whatever that means to you. That gives your day meaning beyond just tasks. For some, yeah, it's prayer or meditation. For others, it might be quietly thinking about their core values, practicing gratitude, visualizing their best self, or just connecting with nature if they can step outside. It's about centering yourself, getting perspective on the bigger picture before the daily rush hits, building that inner peace and conviction. So say you're facing a tough choice. That early quiet time could be when you reflect. Okay, what are my core values here? How do they guide this decision? That gives you strength, alignment. It's about connecting with something bigger than the immediate stress or task list. That provides a really solid foundation.
And the last one was self-discipline, the practical bit.
Exactly. Self-discipline. This is the engine, really. The practical application, the consistency needed to keep it going. Let's be honest, getting up early isn't always easy. It takes a conscious choice to override that urge for more sleep, especially when it's dark or cold.
Tell me about it.
But it's through that consistent act of choosing purpose over comfort that the benefits really start to stack up. You're building a muscle of commitment, resolve, and that spills over into other parts of your life. Again, it's not about magically becoming a morning person. Many successful people aren't, naturally. It's about developing a discipline because it serves your bigger goals. Recognizing that the effort you put in before dawn pays off all day long. Think of it like investing in yourself. Every day you overcome that small resistance. You're building resilience for bigger things. You're choosing to be the architect of your day.
Architects of your day. I like that.
So what's the takeaway for you, the listener? It's really a reminder to cultivate that proactive mindset. Start each day with intention, with clarity, with the drive to make the most of every moment, rather than just letting time slip by or feeling pulled around by everything else. It's a fundamental strategy for taking back control of your time, your energy, and ultimately your life's path.
That really does shift the perspectives on early rising. It's not just a time hack. It's this deeply personal, empowering practice. And the source pushes it even further. It describes early rising not just as productive, but as a prophetic strategy. That sounds pretty significant. Is there a risk that language like that might feel a bit much for someone just trying to, not hit snooze 5 times? How does the source make that big idea practical? What does prophetic strategy actually mean in this context?
Yeah, it's a strong term, isn't it? And it's a fair point. We don't want to make it sound unattainable. What's fascinating, though, is how it elevates the act. Prophetic strategy suggests foresight. It implies you're aligning what you do now with a future you envision. It's about taking actions today that have a real, maybe even transformative ripple effect on what's coming down the line. Not just for the next hour, but for weeks, months, even years. It's about strategically building towards something.
Okay, so foresight.
Yeah.
Like planning ahead, but with more weight.
Exactly. Think of it like this. When you consistently get up early with that intentionality we talked about, you're not just ticking off tasks. You're carving out dedicated, quiet space for the deeper stuff. Strategic thinking, learning, personal growth, the things that often get shoved aside when the day gets busy and reactive. You're giving yourself time to actually think about your long-term goals, plan the steps, and maybe even start laying the foundation right then and there. Starting your day deliberately before the world's noise kicks in lets you steer your life proactively instead of just bouncing off whatever comes your way.
Can you give an example, maybe?
Sure. Imagine someone, let's call her Sarah, a manager. Maybe she starts using just 30 minutes before dawn, not for emails, but to think about her team's long-term vision. Where do they need to be in a year? 5 years? Or David, maybe he's trying to write a book. That quiet hour is gold for outlining a chapter, drafting a difficult section without interruption. Or maybe for you, the listener, you want to quickly get up to speed on a new skill for your career. Those pre-dawn hours are perfect for focused study, tackling complex ideas, doing deep research without getting pinged every 5 minutes.
Right, that focus time is so rare.
It really is. And using that time strategically day after day doesn't just help you manage today's work. It can seriously speed up your learning, your understanding. It helps you beat that feeling of information overload because you have a clear, dedicated window to really absorb things. It's about building momentum towards your purpose, often through these small, consistent actions that add up to something big over time. Transformative, even. So, connecting it back to you, the listener. This approach isn't just about managing your to-do list. It's about truly shaping your future. By consciously investing in these early hours, you're not just being productive, you're actively creating the conditions for success, for growth, for reaching those bigger goals. You're architecting your life step by step, starting with that quiet, powerful first move each day. It's like making a statement, this is who I intend to be, what I intend to achieve, not just wishing for it.
That definitely puts hitting the snooze button in a new light. It makes you think about what potential we might be sleeping through, literally. Okay, so we've talked about that solitary proactive start. Now let's shift from the quiet dawn to our interactions throughout the day. The next chapter, chapter 4, explores something equally powerful, maybe even more universal, the impact of our speech. It states, simply but powerfully, her words are kind. This part really makes you pause and think about the words we actually choose, doesn't it? And the ripple effects they have. The core message, according to the source, is, her words are kind, for she knows that they have the power to heal, uplift, and inspire. That's quite a statement. It highlights that this isn't just, accidental niceness or being polite. It's presented as a very conscious, deliberate choice to use words carefully because she understands their huge, often unseen influence. Wielding a tool with purpose.
Precisely. And the portrayal here isn't about being meek or just agreeing with everyone to avoid conflict. It's rooted in a deep, empathetic grasp of the significant influence her words can have on other people. It's knowing that every time we speak, our words carry weight. Every conversation, no matter how quick or seemingly unimportant, is a chance to either build someone up or, unintentionally perhaps, tear them down, to offer comfort or inflict a small wound. This conscious choice points to a really high level of self-awareness and empathy that's incredibly powerful. She's not just blurting out whatever comes to mind. She's thinking about the immediate effect, the longer echo, the impression she leaves. It's an active decision to be a source of positive energy or comfort or motivation in every interaction. She gets the responsibility that comes with speech. And this thoughtful approach is invaluable, especially when you have to navigate tricky conversations, give tough feedback, or even just correct someone. It helps ensure that even difficult messages land with respect, clarity, and a constructive aim rather than just causing more friction.
You mentioned those 3 words, healing, uplifting, and inspiring. Those are incredibly powerful outcomes for something as everyday as words. Can you break that down a bit more? How do words actually do that? How do they become tools for that kind of significant change beyond just sharing information?
Yeah, it's fascinating when you connect it to the bigger picture. Words really are far more than just data transfer. They're instruments for profound change. They can reshape how people feel, what they believe is possible, and ultimately what they do. Let's take healing. Think about it. A thoughtful, kind word can soothe emotional pain in ways that sometimes actions or gifts just can't touch. It can start to mend relationships that are strained, maybe for a long time. It offers comfort when someone's grieving, confused, or just plain distressed. Imagine someone's having a really rough time at work, feeling unseen, overwhelmed. A manager offering a sincere, specific word, something like, look, I see how hard you're working on this, and I really appreciate your dedication, especially with these challenges. That can genuinely heal some of that frustration. It alleviates stress, makes them feel valued.
That acknowledgement can make such a difference.
It really can. Or, personally, a simple, genuine, I'm sorry, said with real empathy and taking responsibility. That can start to bridge a gap between people, even after a big fight. It's about validating their experience, acknowledging pain, offering understanding. Those are key parts of emotional repair.
Okay, so that's healing. What about uplifting?
Right. Uplifting. Encouraging words can literally boost someone's spirits. They affirm potential. They empower people to tackle challenges they might otherwise avoid. Think about a student struggling with, say, math. A teacher who gives specific encouragement, not just good job, but I see you really wrestling with this concept, and the way you're sticking with it shows real grit, you're making progress, keep going. That can ignite confidence, help them push through frustration.
It's about seeing the potential.
Exactly. Or maybe a friend is thinking about starting a new business, but they're full of self-doubt. A word of belief from you. You've absolutely got the skills for this. You're creative, you're passionate. I genuinely believe you can make this work. That could be the very thing that gives them the courage to take the leap. It's about recognizing the good, the potential, the worth in others, and actually saying it, articulating it in a way that lifts how they see themselves and what they feel capable of. It's almost like speaking a better reality into existence for them.
And the last one, inspiring.
Inspiring. Words have this unique power to ignite passion, spark completely new ideas, or motivate people to act towards something bigger, some greater good. Think about a powerful speech that moves a whole community to address a problem, or a mentor's advice that sets a young person on a career path they'd never even considered but feels right. An inspiring word isn't just about making someone feel good in the moment, it's about moving them to do something, to strive for more. It provides a vision or a challenge that really resonates and pushes someone, or a group, beyond their current limits. It's often when we hear something inspiring that we think, wow, I never thought of it that way, or, okay, I need to do something about this. And the source material, it highlights this idea that a woman's words can turn ordinary conversations into divine encounters.
That phrase really stuck with me.
It's powerful, isn't it? And it's not just poetic. It underscores the almost sacred potential hiding in our everyday interactions. It suggests bringing a level of consciousness, maybe even spiritual awareness, to every word we speak. Recognizing that even simple exchanges can carry real weight and forge deep connections if we approach them with kindness and intent. It's about seeing every chat, every email, every quick text as a chance for positive impact, a chance to connect maybe on a deeper level, to contribute to someone's well-being in ways we might not even realize at the time. It makes you ask, how can this interaction right now be more than just words?
Wow. Transforming ordinary conversations into divine encounters. That really elevates things. It takes everyday talk and makes it potentially profound. Which leads me to another really interesting point the source makes, that our words carry creative power to heal and inspire. Can we explore that idea of creative power a bit more? It sounds like more than just communicating. It sounds like actively shaping things. And I'm curious, does the source give any hints on how to consciously prepare for those kinds of encounters? Or is it more about just having the right mindset all the time? And how does that intentionality prevent words from being misunderstood or even used manipulatively?
Those are excellent questions, digging right into the heart of it. This concept of creative power is incredibly deep. It suggests our words aren't just labels for things or ways to describe what's already there. They're active agents in shaping reality. That puts communication on a whole different level of responsibility, doesn't it? It's the difference between just stating a fact and actively helping to bring about an outcome, or at least influencing the conditions for it. When you speak kindly, when you offer words designed to heal or encourage, you're not just reflecting how you feel, you are actively creating a different reality for the person hearing them. And often, by shifting your own focus, for yourself too.
How does that work practically?
Well, think about a doctor delivering bad news. The medical facts are the facts. But the words they choose, the tone, the empathy shown, that can completely change how the patient receives the news and faces what's ahead. The words don't change the diagnosis, but they can create a path for acceptance, for resilience, for taking action, maybe even finding hope within the difficulty. Similarly, when you offer encouragement to someone feeling totally defeated, you're not just making them feel a bit better, you're helping to create a new possibility in their mind, reigniting their sense of agency, their hope. You're essentially speaking a potential future into existence for them, one where they can overcome. It's like giving them a blueprint they can start building from. Words become these living things, carrying energy, sparking change.
Okay, and what about preparing for that and avoiding misuse?
Right. On preparation and guarding against misuse. The source really emphasizes an ongoing mindset of intentionality. It's not about learning lines. It flows from that inner work we talked about with early rising. When you regularly make space for reflection, for connecting with your purpose, you cultivate an inner calm and self-awareness that allows you to be more present, more discerning in how you interact. The kindness it talks about isn't superficial politeness. It's rooted in genuine empathy, a real desire for the other person's well-being. This intentionality acts like a filter. If your true aim is to heal or uplift or inspire, that purpose guides your word choice, your tone, even your body language. It makes it much harder for your words to come across as manipulative because the underlying sincerity tends to shine through. Manipulative words, on the other hand, even if they sound kind on the surface, lack that genuine positive intent. They're usually aimed at controlling or getting something, and that often becomes clear eventually. The source implies that truly kind words spring from good character, not just clever speaking.
So the inner state influences the outer expression.
Precisely. And think about how subtle this power can be. It's not always big speeches. A seemingly casual, genuine compliment to a stranger, maybe you notice something specific they've done well, could plant a seed of confidence they really needed that day. It might change their whole outlook. Imagine telling a barista, wow, that latte art really brightened my morning, it's beautifully done. A simple, sincere comment like that could make them feel seen, valued, maybe even reignite a bit of passion for their work. Or think about meetings, how a carefully phrased question, not stating your opinion, but a genuinely curious one like, what if we looked at this from the customer's very first touch point, can unlock a solution no one else saw? Not by giving answers, but by shaping the possibility space for others. It serves as this potent reminder of the power of our own words to change lives. It pushes us to practice kindness not just as good manners, but as a deliberate, influential act. It makes us own our ability to enhance the quality of others' lives simply by choosing our words with care. Which really raises a key question for you, the listener. How consciously do you choose your words day to day? Do you ever pause, even for a millisecond, to think about the creative potential in that next conversation, that email, that text? Because the implication is when you do, you unlock this incredible ability to shake the world around you, one intentional, kind phrase at a time. The impact isn't just momentary. It can resonate, create lasting positive change, build bridges.
Okay, so bringing these two big ideas together, then the proactive dawn and the kind word. We've looked at the personal discipline of seizing the day early, using that time for intention, for foresight, and we've explored the huge social, even spiritual impact of deliberately kind speech, recognizing its creative power. How do they weave together? It feels like they're not just two separate good things to do, but deeply connected.
That's exactly where the real insight from Moore's work seems to lie. The overall message pulling from these chapters is that every person has this capacity to unlock their potential, to live wisely, and to build this legacy of grace. And the beauty is how these two principles, early rising and kind words, they work together. They're synergistic. Well, the intentionality, the focus, the self-discipline you build by consistently rising early, that creates the essential mental, spiritual, maybe even emotional breathing room you need to then consciously practice kind and impactful speech throughout the day. Think of that quiet morning time as your personal lab. You're cultivating the inner calm, the clarity that makes thoughtful communication possible later on. When you start your day feeling grounded, centered, purposeful, you're just way less likely to react impulsively, speak without thinking, or let external pressures dictate how you respond emotionally. You've built up a kind of reservoir of inner strength and focus. That allows you to approach situations later with more grace, more wisdom, instead of just raw reaction. That proactive start gives you the mental bandwidth to be truly present and intentional with your words, even when things get stressful or difficult. It's really hard to speak kindly and thoughtfully if your mind's already scrambled from a reactive, chaotic start to the day.
All right, so one really does feed the other. It paints this picture of, like you said, one intentional morning and one kind word at a time being the real building blocks for a meaningful life. It suggests that making a big impact isn't necessarily about some huge dramatic gesture, but more about the steady accumulation of these small, deliberate acts. They compound over time into something significant. Makes you think about the ripple effect, doesn't it? How many lives could be touched by that consistency?
Absolutely. And for you, the listener, the key takeaway isn't about trying to achieve perfection immediately. It's understanding that these consistent, small acts of intention done daily add up. They create major shifts over time in your own life, in your relationships, in your overall impact. When you consistently rise early with purpose, you're not just gaining an hour, you're cultivating a mindset of control, of foresight. You're signaling to yourself and maybe even the universe that you're serious about shaping your own future. And when you consistently choose words that are kind, uplifting, constructive, you're not just having a nice chat. You're actively strengthening relationships, influencing outcomes positively, and leaving this lasting good mark on people. This combination gives you a practical, yet really quite profound roadmap, a way to navigate your days, gain deeper insights, and build a positive influence in your world. It suggests that true wisdom, a real legacy, isn't built on grand, rare gestures, but on the steady, quiet application of these principles in the morning stillness and in every interaction that follows. It really speaks to the idea that genuine transformation starts inside, with disciplined self-management, and then naturally flows outward through intentional action and compassionate communication. It helps create a world that's not just more productive, but maybe more humane, more connected. It's about being present, purposeful, and kind, moment by moment.
What a fascinating deep dive into William Moore's Proverbs 31. We've really unpacked the transformative power of getting a proactive start, that she rises before dawn idea, learning how it builds intention, faith, discipline, and acts as that prophetic strategy for your future. And then we shifted to the profound impact of our words. Our words are kind, recognizing their creative power to heal, uplift, inspire, and how they can even turn ordinary conversations into divine encounters. These insights, they offer such a potent but also really accessible way to think about unlocking your own potential and making a genuinely positive contribution to the world. It's about building a life that feels good on the inside and does good on the outside, all through these deliberate choices, starting each morning and carrying through every conversation. You know, if a proactive start where you seize the day with purpose, maybe clearing that mental clutter before anything else combined with consciously choosing words that truly heal and inspire. If that can transform ordinary chats into something more and build this legacy of grace, well, maybe consider this. What one seemingly small intentional shift could you make? Maybe in your morning routine, just 15 minutes of quiet reflection. Or in your communication today, one conscious decision to offer a genuinely uplifting word when it's needed. What small step could start unlocking that profound potential in your life, starting tomorrow? What quiet, powerful move will you make to begin architecting your best day?
Thank you for joining us today on From Manuscript to Ministry. If today's featured book encouraged, challenged, or inspired you, we invite you to take the next step, purchase a copy, and support the author behind the message. When you invest in their work, you're not just buying a book, you're sowing into good ground and helping advance the kingdom of God through faith-filled storytelling. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Your support helps these powerful voices reach even further. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, keep praying, and keep walking boldly in your calling. God is still turning manuscripts into ministries.